It's an ET Now exclusive and the first ever comprehensive response from the government on ICICI Bank and other instances of deteriorating corporate governance, like in the case of Fortis and Manpasand Beverages. The Secretary of the Ministry of Corporate Affairs, Injeti Srinivas, sits down with ET Now's Nayantara Rai to talk about all these cases, beginning with Chanda Kochhar and ICICI. Here's an edited excerpt.
The governance of a bank squarely falls in the domain of the RBI. This is my understanding. So if there's anything, any deficiency in the functioning of the top management, and if that could jeopardize the interests of minority investors and public at large, because you'll have depositors, then RBI will have to look at it, and I'm sure they're looking at it.
Because SEBI is also looking at it.
Of course, SEBI will look at it, because if it's a company and if it's a listed company and if there are shareholders, SEBI will also have to look at it. But I said as a bank, SEBI is looking at it as a listed entity, as an entity which has...
so aren't you looking at it as a corporate? You're not going to look at ICICI Bank as a corporate?
I think, you know, there are clearly laid down mandates. Okay. And as a bank, primarily, I think the RBI is the proper entity. If all ministries start, pouncing on an entity, I think it will be chaotic.
No, but Mr. Srinivas, you're talking about the efficiency and the efficacy of the board and the independent directors. So let me just ask you one pointed question. You've got LIC as a board member. You've also got a bureaucrat of the central government as a board member. They are absent during board meetings, which has given a clean chit to Chanda Kochhar. Then we find out how the government knew about it. You all had the whistleblower report. The government was caught napping and has done nothing. I
don't think we can reach any conclusion with respect to any particular case, be it even this ICICI, because when I'm talking about the overall architecture, how a particular board is functioning, there is an evaluation mechanism. You have a regulator. For a bank, RBI is the regulator, and how effective a management is and how effectively they're functioning is well within the mandate of the Reserve Bank of India.
But the central government's bureaucrat, who is the representative of the government of India on ICICI, skipped the board meetings. What kind of a message is the government sending out for corporate governance?
No, I think I'll not be in a position to comment on that, whether he could have taken leave of absence for some valid reason.
As a Secretary of the Corporate Affairs Ministry, do you think that perhaps we need to strengthen whistleblower acts? Look at the Infosys case, look at the ICICI case. Do you think perhaps there's a case for that now?
The only thing is we'll have to see that they function very effectively. I think the independent directors institution is very critical. It basically occupies the center stage as far as corporate governance goes, because they are supposed to protect the interests of the non-promoter group. Now we'll have to really see that how independent an independent director is, what would be the qualifications, minimum qualifications an independent director would have to have, and what sort of capacity the independent director possesses. So I think we are also very seized of this matter, and some work is in progress with respect to developing a strong criteria for selection of independent directors, the manner in which they'll be selected, their appointment, their removal, all these aspects in their entirety will have to be looked at, and their accountability.
Fortis is the other one that we hear about. Is the government
what about Fortis?
Is the government examining Fortis, the resignation of the auditor, the alleged siphoning of funds, its sale, how the overhaul of the company board that had to take place in the midst of the company sale?
So there are certain issues which the corporate affairs through its organizations is definitely looking into, and that's in process. So investigations, the findings will determine what action you need to take.
The last one I'll ask you about, Manpasand Beverages. Are you examining that, the recent auditor resignation?
You mentioned about it, so abrupt exit of an auditor, certainly.
And that was, of course, one of the biggest voices coming in from the government in relation to all of those issues that have been raised with respect to corporate governance, right from ICICI Bank to Manpasand Beverages.